Hi guys, I'm here with our very first hour of instruction, and we're going to start out with curriculum for year 2. I just wanted to go over a few things with you. First of all, we will meet in person some of the time and online probably most of the time until COVID gets taken care of. So for sure, in September, we will be meeting online, and I will do my best to make it as seamless and easy as possible for you, and not give you a whole bunch of busy work. A couple of things that we need to go over. You should have had 4 observations last year, and then you'll have a 5th observation this year. If you were unable to get in that 4th observation in the spring, then we will go ahead and take care of that this year at some point in time. May not be this fall, depending on COVID. You might end up having both of those in the spring, but the 5th observation, so all of your observations actually, will be completed by April, I believe. So you'll be being contacted by your observers to set up those times with you in the spring. As far as September goes, for this coming year, you do have the special ed reflection that we worked on today, and so some of you have already turned that in, which is awesome, but it is due in the month of September. And then we also have assigned a REACH reflection because REACH was canceled. That will probably look a little bit different. I may need to go in and do some modifications on that, and we'll discuss that as instructors on what exactly it is we're going to assign to make sure that we meet those standards that was fulfilling. It'll probably be some kind of a reflection on Summer Academy 2 and maybe the keynote speaker that we'll be listening to tomorrow. So look for those directions coming. You'll also have your monthly reflections, just like we did this first year. Every month you'll just reflect on the topics that we're covering. We'll go over you'll also be turning in a lesson plan, and just like before, you do not have to put it on the template. You'll have 4 actual lesson plans that will need to be on the Inspire template, and like Dr. Cannon said, it looks like he's going to have us create our own template. So maybe we can do that in September, is come up with a template that works in our September meeting. And then we will use that in our cohort moving forward and submit that to John for his consideration as an overall new template. Hopefully that will work for everybody. I'm just making a note to myself so I remember to do that in September. You'll also be submitting your weekly lesson plan or weekly planners. And once again, you can do that. Just photocopy your board. Those of us that are online, screenshot your planner, whatever it is. And then we will be going over a couple of different areas in the month of September. So in September, the topics that we'll be covering are safety, professional development, and professional organizations, as well as planning for instruction. And you'll find that year 2, a lot of what we cover is a little bit repetitive. But as you remember from last year, you were drinking from a fire hose. And so in revisiting some of the topics, hopefully with a year of teaching underneath your belt, then it will help you to be able to actually listen and apply. I think more about how you can apply that in your classroom. So just wanted to let you know that. You'll also be doing your TAC, technical advisory committees, and so you'll be submitting that. We'll be talking about vertical alignments and articulation agreements between secondary and post-secondary in October. And then also in October, we'll be looking at your personal philosophy statements, which Christian talked to you about in day one of Summer Academy 2. So we'll start to look at those, and your professional personal philosophy statement will not be due until the spring, but we will be working on that, kind of like how we did our lesson plans, that we revised the single lesson plan or single unit plan in year 1. In year 2, you kind of do that with your philosophy statement. As you progress through year 2, you'll kind of tweak that until you finally submit it in the spring this year. So, like I said, lesson plans and weekly planners, definitely. You will have specific lesson plans that you do need to submit. And let me show you this because it shows you a little bit better. Hopefully this tab will come through here so you can see that. So this is a different arrangement of the same information, but it's a little bit easier for me to show you what exactly you're going to be going over and when. So lesson plan 1, safety, October is when that is due. So we go over it the month before. Professional organization research, we'll do that in September as well. It'll be due at the October meeting or before the October meeting. And then, like I said, the weekly planner, that will be done one each month, as well as a lesson plan, just a submission of a lesson plan each month. And then we will be talking about industry and utilizing industry in your classroom and ways that you can either bring industry into your classroom or ways that you can take your kids out into industry in the creation of a lesson plan. That is your second lesson plan for year 2. And so what you'll be looking at within the creation of that lesson plan is either creating a guest speaker or a project where the kids can get some hand-on experience with industry. I can give you a FCS example from a couple years ago. We had an FCS teacher who took her middle schoolers out to a dairy, and they did a field trip out to the dairy and did a tour and a sampling of the dairy products right there on the dairy. So that's where she took them from her classroom out into the industry. So be thinking about that, and maybe something you already do that you can just simply adapt that lesson plan and put it on here. Like I said, vertical alignment and articulation agreements, that is something that is going to happen. We'll go over it in October. The assignment will be due in November. You're implementing your TAC. We'll go over that in October. It's due in November. Like I said, with the personal philosophy statement, we'll begin working on that in November, but you don't submit it till February. Your third lesson plan will be on interdisciplinary instruction. And the way that is set up, and we'll talk about it, is doing cross-curricular work, whether it is 2 CTE programs. You create a lesson plan where you have a unit or a lesson that you're doing that you do in cooperation with either an academic teacher or another CTE teacher. Maybe it's farm to table. Maybe it's something where you're working with the English teacher on an essay that you're having them write using her formatting in her class, but it's about a subject for your class. So we'll be talking about that in November, and then that assignment will be due in December. The fourth lesson plan is on legal use of technology for interpersonal communication. So we'll be taking a close look in December and January as far as what are your district policies and where do you find that on communication with students and with parents, and what does that look like, and how do you incorporate that into your classroom as far as telling your students what your policies are. We'll talk about leadership and collaboration, and we'll talk about student leadership and CTSOs extensively in January and February. And then, like I said, the personal philosophy statement will be submitted in February. We'll also be looking at language instruction modification in March, or actually it's in February, due in March. And then principles and foundations of the KWL and then any other little mini assignments that come up. So that is what it looks like for the year. Those are the assignments that are on your checklist. So you can pull up if you want to know the specific assignments. Those are on your checklist that I've shared with you under year 2. If you have any questions about any of the assignments, you can always shoot me out a quick question or a quick text, IM, whatever it is that you need to talk to me. So I know this is kind of short and a kind of brief overview, but as far as curriculum goes, what I want you to do in order to get credit for watching this is in the chat box where I post this, just give me one thing that you're really excited about us covering and one thing that you feel like is kind of been beat to death and you don't really need any more information on the subject. So if there is any. So one thing that you're excited to learn about and one thing that you feel is kind of repetitive. And then that will get you credit for watching this video and give you your hours worth of curriculum instruction, and go ahead and utilize any additional time in that hour to meditate over the upcoming year and all of those fun curriculum decisions that you get to make.